You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How we doing? How we doing this morning? I want to back this up. I want to talk about Angel Reese, Chicago Sky, and Coach Witherspoon. One of the things I want to get into, obviously, I told you regarding the IQ and what needs to happen. But, I can't tell you what the challenge or the problem is, but not give the solution. And I think really what you got here is a situation where you got two really, really good athletes. And I'm talking about Kim Cardoso and Angel Reese. I mean, two great athletes that kind of both play the post position, and you don't have enough spacing down low. So here's the solution that I truly believe. Angel Reese and Kim Cardoso are going to have to become better shooters. Okay, they must become better shooters. Because here's the situation. When you got the guard play and you got Kennedy Carter coming in there, and you're going to look at it, and you got Allen, okay, you got Harrison. You got to look at all these players are going downhill. And for the folks who may or may not know basketball, that means you're getting to the cup. And if you got everybody getting to the cup, what the Chicago Sky have is just a crowded environment. And, they're scoring points in this crowded environment. There's no doubt about it. But it's hard to play basketball that way. It's just extremely hard to do it. And if you look at the Sky and how it breaks down and you want to look through it, and as I look at the Sky and I say, well, let's look at seeing what they're doing. Okay, so you got Kennedy Carter here, and, she's scoring 17 a game. Okay, Mabry's gone. We know that. Reese is at 13. Williams, but you got Cordoso down here at 8.2 points. Okay, and that really shouldn't happen because you got a player that's 6'7", and here's the main thing that I really want to bring to you. I mean, it's 6'7" ball player, but she shoots the basketball really good. I mean, really good. And you got to ask yourself here, what do we want to do? Because if I look at this correctly, and this is the premise, they've got to become better shooters. But Cardoso's already a great shooter. Okay, she's already a great shooter. She's already putting down and hitting the buckets that she needs to hit. And when you look at the Sky and you go to Cardoso, you'll come here. I mean, she's at a 47% clip in the free field goals. That's extremely high. You got Kennedy Carter sitting here at 51.8. You got Angel Reese at 39.7. Okay, but that lets me know that Cordoso, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get her the ball. And it can't just be dumping in or, feeding her down to the post because there's no room. She gets a bunch of buckets, and she should be getting more touches. And her range, I'll tell you this, her shooting range, easily could shoot 17, 20 feet away from the basket. Okay, I mean, just a good shooter all around. Now, when you look at Angel Reese and Kennedy Carter, I mean, Kennedy Carter's going downhill. Downhill, folks, it's dribble drive penetration. Can you stop me from getting to the basket? And that's where all the all the Sky players, I did it again, all the Sky players are actually doing. You can't have all the guards going downhill, and you have Angel Reese and Cardoso in the paint as well. I mean, it's overcrowded in that paint, and it really affects your transition defense because now nobody's prepared when you're going to get back on defense and when you're going to make that happen. But these two right here, I mean, they got to sync it up, and if she's going downhill, Kennedy Carter. And this is where Coach Witherspoon, and this is probably already put in, if she's going downhill, then you got to have Cardoso and you got to have Angel Reese pop out of the paint because there's got to be enough space. And if they can't get to the basket, the next thing they got to do, they got to find the open shooters. Okay, and that's got to be a part of their game. And when you look at it here, the Sky, of course, lost to the Mercury. Okay, they're going to get back on the court. They got to turn this around. But if you look, Angel Reese 4-14, okay? That's tough. You get 15 rebounds. Here's a big thing. You got 8 offensive rebounds. So either you're going to put that shot back up or you're going to find the shooters that are sitting out there waiting. And if they don't take the shots, here's something Witherspoon can't fix, And I don't know if anybody can fix this, but if you look at the 3-point shots that they take, okay, it's just nobody can shoot it. So you go 0 of 4 here, unaware. You come back. Bantams 1 of 6. Okay, you got 0 for 3 from the Shields, and you got 2-4 from D. Evans. Now D. Evans is a good player. D. Evans is a very good basketball player. D. Evans is a downhill player as well. Okay, and so when you start stacking Kennedy Carter, you start stacking D. Evans. You got Jefferson in there. Now, here's the deal with Jefferson. You got to let Jefferson shoot the ball. Okay, Jefferson can put the ball in the hole, and you got to figure out a way how to get Jefferson, okay, the shots, because Jefferson can shoot it well, and you got to figure out what we're going to do to get Jefferson in the game, because Jefferson was brought over. Okay, you picked her up in the trade. Now you got to utilize it. Okay, and this can't be a wait and see. This is a veteran, okay, that knows how to play the game. And for the Sky, you just got to look at it and say, man, we got to shoot the ball. I mean, there's no way. And the Indiana Fever just beat the Mercury last night. Okay, here's the deal: the Mercury came back. They had a 30-point lead. Mercury came back shooting threes. The only way the Indiana Fever can offset that last night, they had to shoot the threes as well. Okay, what I'm saying for the Chicago Sky, it doesn't matter if you make or miss the shot at this point in the season. What you got to do is get in the offense and trust the process. That's where I'm seeing that the Chicago Sky are not trusting the process, and it makes it very difficult to play basketball like that. So you got to look Cardoso, and Cardoso, number one, I'm going to tell you something here. And I'll be very honest and upfront. Cardoso's logging too many miles up and down the court. I mean, if you're going from post play to post play, that's a lot of miles she's logging up and down the court. And, Spoon would be better off putting her in the trail position, let her kind of trail the play, shorten her distance a little bit, because that's too many miles. She's logging in. And when she doesn't get the basketball and you're logging that many miles, that becomes a little bit of frustration. Okay, you're going up and down, up and down. Okay, where are you at in the standings? I mean, you're 10 and 15. I mean, so you're falling down, but you can resurrect this situation. It's just going to be what do you want to do? I mean, what do they want to do as a team? And you got some players here, I'll tell you. You just got to get them going, and you got to get that assist up. Okay, because there's no way. Mabry was averaging 4.5 assists. You got to replace that, okay? D. Evans, like I said, is a down here player. I mean, she's just get to the basket. But you got Bantam coming in and just started. I mean, that's a big commitment right there from her, because she doesn't really have the foot speed, and you're going to rely on her to shoot and get you the assist. So, and really, the one down here at the bottom is Jefferson. I got to tell you, Jefferson's a doggone good ball player. Now, you're going to have to share the ball. You're going to have to integrate her into the offense. This is where Coach Witherspoon, you got to bring, and you got to get Angel Reese, and you got to get Cardoso out of the paint. Okay, it's almost like you got to play 5 out and just keep moving the ball around, because if the shots are going up, really you want the spacing. And that's what the Sky don't have. If you look at Cardoso, she's got to score, and everybody's in the paint. Reese, same thing. You got to get the spacing in there, and you got to let these players. You're gonna have to figure out who you're gonna go with. Okay, because right now the lineup should fall down to about 8 players, folks. When you get ready to go to play the playoffs, or you get ready to close it out and see what you got, you're gonna have to get that rotation down to about 8 players. That's it. And you can't have those in and out. And some of the things I'll tell you that I saw, I mean, shocking to me. And with the Chicago Sky, and they could fix this, but they're going to have to do some things that, Spoon's going to have to make some changes, going to have to hurt some feelings. That's what's going to have to happen. And if Coach Witherspoon or Coach Spoon can do that, then you're going to be able to get this thing turned around. But it's not something that they're going to just go through lightly, because the way they play basketball, I mean, it really doesn't make sense. And it's tough to play this way, because when you do play this way, I mean, this is the things that get me. And when you look at the Sky and you look at the Sky from a defensive standpoint, and I can only tell you, folks, I really can't really explain it to you any other way. But when you look at the Sky and how the Sky play and the defensive how they play, I mean, sometimes the Sky do some things that really don't make sense. And it's one of the plays here doesn't make sense to me at all. You got the Sky and you got them 4 across. They're all above, okay, and they're playing off ball and everything's where it's supposed to be. You got one player not guarding the player, and I have no idea where the player is looking. But I'm going to bring it to you, and I want you to watch this because this one bugs me. And this is where I'm saying when the Sky's got to get tuned in, because if they don't play team defense, it's impossible to win in the WNBA. It's impossible. So if you're going to watch here goes the guard, she's going to jump and open up the lane, okay? And when you open up the lane, I mean, look at the Sky defensive players here. And this is something, Spoon, you got to fix this. And the players who are in there, you guys got to know where the basketball is. I mean, if you don't know where the basketball is, I mean, honestly, what are we really doing? You got a player here, a couple players, don't even know where the basketball's going to the hoop. These are embarrassing moments that you cannot play in the WNBA. I mean, this is where I'm telling you, folks, you got some players. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're powered up by Fanatics. You got some players playing in the WNBA, and I'm not going to get into the IQ thing. We already did that, and we know where that is. Now I got to give you the solution. Okay, the number one solution in basketball, and if you look at it, it's been around 100 years, you never take your eyes off the basketball. Okay, when you got 4 players or 3 players on a possession taking their eyes off the basketball, that's going to kill it. I mean, you can't win. Okay, you just can't win games like that. And you got to fix that. And these players have got to play a team defense. Okay, that means you got to get the defensive rotations. Okay, and when you get to it, it doesn't matter how well you do on the offensive end. That's really where the Sky's focus is. But that's not going to win you any games. Because when you don't convert on the offensive end, now you got to play defense. Now you're at a disadvantage. Not only a disadvantage if you play the team defense, okay, you get the defensive rotation. Now you're even more at a disadvantage if you don't know the rotations. And that's exactly what I showed you there. This is, and the other night I had a player take off on a play, and it just blew me away to say, how can you be going the same way, okay, doing the same mistake twice, okay, on the defensive end? And it's not going to help. You're better off, Witherspoon's better off having, okay, Angel Reese and Cardoso get outside and start shooting the basketball because it's too crowded. Too many guards are going downhill. And if you want to play that style of basketball, you might as well run 5 out. I mean, you could have Cardoso sit at the top, be the trail, and, you just get it started that way because there's too much activity inside the paint for anybody to be successful. And every time Cardoso scores, folks, you just got to know that it's going to be in a situation where it's not even possible. And this team defense these guys are running, I mean, guys, we got to be smarter. We really do. And this is what I mean by this when I say you got to be smarter. You just got to be able to know the play's coming. You got to read the play completely. And if you don't read the play completely, look at this, folks. I mean, I just don't get it. Okay, so when you get the Chicago Sky, they're coming back. You got Angel Reese. Angel Reese, the way the defensive transition works, whoever's closest to the basketball takes the basketball. So Angel Reese should cut off that basketball right now, okay? There's no doubt about it. Okay, you got your secondary players are running here, and let's watch how this develops. Okay, Angel Reese should put pressure on that ball. Now you got a backdoor cut, okay? And look at the defensive player, how the rotation's going to go. We're going to hit it backdoor. Okay, and you got Cordoso. You got to get there super early because that ball's already coming. And if you can get beat like this, folks, that's too easy in the WNBA. I mean, I can go on and on and on. If they don't get those team defensive rotations, they need to get those fixed, and they need to get those fixed in a hurry because the Chicago Sky cannot win a game in the WNBA if the players are not experienced enough. And this is base, coach. This is not something that you really need to go out and you need to start, getting oversaturated and overfilled. This is just basic. But I'll tell you this, if you don't get, as we'd say in the NBA, the big fella, Okay, if you don't get the big lady going, because I tell you what, you put the monitors on these players, and you got Cardoso logging more miles than anybody on the Chicago Sky. She's running from block to block, block to block, whether she gets the ball. Half the time she gets to the block, nobody's even there. They've already shot the ball. She's got to turn around and go run it again. You know what, Spoon? You might as well put her in the trail position. And here's the deal. And this is like a team meeting, and you got to go, because we'll go to the plus minus next each and every game. And I'll tell you, I do these team minutes, did it with the Lakers, we've done it with the Fever, we've done a lot of teams, done it with the Warriors. By the time you look at the plus minus, Spoon, you're going to have a rotation, okay? Because those who are in the minus, they're going to have to go to the bench, okay? To fix this, those who are in the plus minus, if you're in the minus, it's time to go to the bench, okay? You got to get the most efficient players on the court, and that will be detailed out game by game. By the time you in there, you'll turn this around, and the Chicago Skies start winning some games. But if Coach Witherspoon's giving a game plan and nobody's following the game plan, doesn't matter if you have Trinity Carter or not, because it comes down, it's just like any other way. In the NBA, it's next man up. In the NFL, it's next man up. In the WNBA, it's the next lady up. So if Carter's down, the next person should be able to come in and give you the same production, or that's not the player you want to have on the Chicago Sky. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're walking through a quick team meeting with the Chicago Sky, and the premise is Angel Reese, Kim Cordoso must become shooters. They have to be able to stretch out 17-foot range and shoot it about 15 times a game, because they got too many players downhill, better known as too many players trying to get to the basket. The spacing's not there. They're making it extremely difficult. And eventually, if you get Cardoso and Angel Reese shooting 17 feet, we can stretch them to 22, and then they can start shooting threes, because they're the two best shooters. And you know what? Trinity Carter shoots the ball really good, over 50%. That's too high for Trinity Carter. We need you out at the three-point line, shooting threes as well. You open that up for Coach Witherspoon, now you're playing basketball. But the players have got to have the confidence they can make the shot. Here's a solution, I'm telling you. You got to bring out Cardoso, and you got to bring out Reese, and you also got to let Trinity Carter knock down some three-point shots. That needs to be between them 15 to 20 three-point shots a game. The Fever will get back in action. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're powered up by Fanatics, and we told you we're not going to tell you the Chicago Sky, the IQ. We're going to turn it around. We'll have the team meeting, and every step of the way, I'll break it down to you, because each player on the Chicago Sky, offensively and defensively, has to do their job. And the Chicago fans, you deserve it. You deserve more. And the Chicago Sky are going to give you more, but they got to play basketball, and they are pros. They got to dig down deep. And yes, this is not high school. This is not college. This is the WNBA. They are pros, and pros must take accountability, and that's what you got with the Chicago Sky players. We'll see you soon. All things are possible to those who believe, and this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're powered up by Fanatics. We'll see you soon.